Good morning, everyone. This is Russell Rucker, and I'm here for another constitutional talk. You know, it wasn't that long ago, maybe about a year, we were talking about our 10th Amendment, which basically says if it's not in the Constitution, if it's not restricted by the Constitution, it belongs to the states and to the people. So, if the federal government, if they never talked about it in the Constitution, the federal government doesn't have that right. It goes to the people and to the states. Over recent years, we've had a question where they've looked at that and they've decided, the states have, we're going to do what we want. We aren't going to allow different things to occur. This kind of thing. They're saying that the federal government has no jurisdiction at all. But then we come across something in the Constitution, and I think it's important to discuss for a few minutes, and that is our Supremacy Clause. So you get to Article 6 of our base Constitution, the original section, and you get to paragraph 2, and it says, "The Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuant thereof, and all treaties made, of which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in each state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary, notwithstanding." So this is our Supremacy Clause. It rules the federal government supreme and the Constitution supreme above all else. So if the federal government decides to pass a law that interferes with the rights of the states, then that isn't acceptable either, because the Constitution is above all else. Then you get the federal government, and then you get the state government. So if a federal government passes a law, and it becomes law in all the states, unless it's not identified as something, it's not part of the original meaning and jurisdiction of the federal government, because then it belongs to the states and to the people. Now, this is an important aspect of understanding. So there are lots of things that states have tried to do, undermining, for instance, the Electoral College. There's this scheme out there to somehow bypass and have some state compact. Well, that's not allowed because it says you can't have a state compact in the Constitution. You also have areas where people have declared this is some kind of sanctuary against arrest, But the federal government has a right to defend its sovereignty and its laws wherever they may be in the United States, continental or otherwise. It was never intended that the states would have more power than the federal government. It was intended that the states allowed certain things to go to the federal government and the rest to be reserved to the states. But when there's a conflict between what the federal government's duties are and the states' rights are, then it falls to the Constitution. And the Constitution dictates that the federal government shall be supreme above the states. It's the Supremacy Clause. It also does not allow the federal government to run over the top of the states, because it's kind of an agreement. It was, in fact, Madison and Jefferson argued that anything that was unconstitutional could simply be voided. Now, this is kind of an interesting thing because they didn't agree with what the federal government was doing. They felt it was unconstitutional, and at the time, we didn't have the Supreme Court didn't believe they had a right to declare unconstitutional laws, which later, short time later, actually, was applied. So when you're talking about the Supremacy Clause, you have to understand that there is an important distinction here. Now, last week we were talking about a president being sworn in and having to give his oath of office, and that oath says that you have to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States, and all the state officers have to give the same oath. And this is important because you are giving an oath to uphold the Constitution. That's not pieces that you agree with. It's the whole document. It's everything that's been approved, from the base document to the amendments. All of it has to be adhered to. And the Supremacy Clause is no different, because one or the other has to be in control. And if the states are in total control, or they can dictate what is going to be accepted and what is not going to be accepted, then you're tearing the country apart. You need a strong republic. The states are part of that republic. That's why you have federal laws, you have state laws, you have ordinances all the way down to your cities, your municipalities, your villages, townships. All of it is important. And so there's rules over virtually everything. It's a question of jurisdiction. And the federal government has the right over the states, over federal law. And what they have a right to is spelled out in the Constitution. And that, my friends, is how it works. We'll wrap this up for now, and we'll catch you next time on the next Constitutional Talk. You folks have a good day now. We'll talk to you later. Got a couple books coming out probably next month, and we're working on getting a board game out too. And just to let you know what we're trying to accomplish here. But we'll catch you next time. Goodbye for now. And please subscribe. Thank you very much. Goodbye.